Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. I want to say double honors to the apostles and the elders at GreatMillStone that rule well, and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word in sincerity and in truth, man. Making their bodies a living sacrifice to go out and teach this word. Yeah, I'm gonna basically speak on this article right here in RT News. And it was put up a few days ago. What I usually tend to do is I basically bookmark my articles if I want to speak on them when a spirit jumps on me to speak on them. And so that's what I'm gonna do, man. And it's titled. It says worldwide advancements in missile technologies putting US at more risk. Right, more at a risk. Pentagon report. It says countries around the world are advancing their ballistic and cruise missile technologies and increasing potential threats towards the US, according to a new Pentagon report seen by Bloomberg. Okay, now the reason why I want to speak on this article is because we know that through the prophecies of the Bible that America is Babylon the Great, that great city in which all the nations of the earth basically wax rich with the abundance of her delicacies, man. All right, and it tells you that in the book of Revelation. Okay, we also know that the book of Revelation was written down by John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos. And within that book, he even mentions in the first verse, rather, that this is a future prophecy and things that would shortly come to pass. So let's read it. It said, the revelation of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, which the Most High gave unto him, to show to his servants things which must shortly come to pass. Okay, so this has not happened yet. Okay, this vision that John saw has not actually happened yet, and it's getting ready to happen. All right, we are in the last days where Babylon the Great, which is America, is about to be completely wiped off and be left a desolate wilderness. Okay, and when you go down to verse, let's see where it is. Here we go. Verse 9, it says, I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation, because we go through a lot of tribulation in this truth, as it is written in Sirach, it says, my son, if thou come to service the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. And Acts 14:22 tells you, exhort one another daily, and through I believe it says, through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so we are expected to go through that fiery trial of faith that speaks of in the book of Peter's also, man. All right, being in this truth, making our bodies a living sacrifice, and suffering and teaching this word, bearing our cross. Okay, it says in the kingdom and patience of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, so we're commanded to have patience also. Okay, better is the ending of the thing than the beginning. Okay, was in the isle that is called Patmos. So that's basically just clarifying that this was written down by by John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos. Okay, for the word of the Most High and the testimony of Yahweh Shai, and we already know that the scripture says that the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. So now we getting into prophecy. When you see articles like this is prophecy. Okay, how do we know? Let's go into the book of Isaiah, the 54th chapter. We can get the tools of destruction that's basically going to take America out. Okay, and just know that it's in concordance with the Most High's program for it to be destroyed in such a fashion. It says, Isaiah 54:16, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. And that smith, the modern day smith, is like your modern day scientists that basically be splitting them atoms, man, and basically creating the technology of them ICBM nuclear missiles, which is what you're seeing in this article here. All right, let's read it from the top again. It says countries around the world are advancing their ballistic and cruise missile technologies and increasing potential threats towards the US. Now, the US has been a big bully in the playground for far too long, and all the other nations are beginning to stand up against the US now, and they're basically beating their plowshares and their pruning hooks into spears, man. Okay, because they've taking all of their agricultural money-making abilities and they're now putting it into their military. And that's why you see them basically creating more and more missiles, doing more and more tests, doing more and more war drills and shit in the sea and so on and so forth. Okay, because World War III is just about around the corner. And the ancient Smith, when you watch a lot of these war movies, man, they used to get the hammer and the anvil and they used to just basically go to work on that metal until they had that great sword that they were smithing fit for battle. Okay, but the modern day sword would be an ICBM nuclear missile, man. Okay, and that's the instrument that's being brought forth for his work. All right, and the Lord said He has created the ways to destroy it. Now let's jump to Isaiah, the 9th chapter, and the 5th verse. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood," and that's what you would fashion a sword for in the ancient world. A lot of it shows you in Game of Thrones, the best type of steel that you could get in that was Valyrian steel, and everyone loved the Valyrian steel blade, man. You just hear it when that sword's being unsheathed, that ringing, man. Everyone's like, oh, that's Valyrian steel. It's like, the better the sword was smithed, the greater it was in war times, because it could cut down more enemies without being blunted. It can pierce armor, so on and so forth, without being blunted as fast, so on and so forth. But every battle with of the warrior is with confused noise, and we know that when we watch these films like 300, when we watch films like Troy, Kingdom of Heaven, so on and so forth. But it says, "But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire," and that didn't happen to ancient Babylon. Okay, that's about to happen to modern day Babylon. The only thing that's going to be doing that fire and that brimstone that's coming down on the great city, Babylon the Great, which basically is going to leave it desolate like a wilderness, is going to be them ICBM nuclear missiles. Okay, now let's go to Revelation 18. And I'm going to start from verse 2. "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen." Remember, we read in Revelation, the 1st chapter and the 1st verse, that this is a vision that will shortly come to pass. Okay, so this vision has not come to pass yet. Okay, it says, "Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all and that's basically Babylon the Great, being America, is going to become a desolate wilderness, man. And all you're going to see is desert dwelling creatures chilling in the desert, which was once known as America. They even show you a clip in Planet of the Apes where Charlton Heston actually sees the Statue of Liberty half buried in sand up to the neck. All right, just holding the torch, so to speak, man. All right, and he's lamenting on the beach and shit on the shores, saying, "You did it, you finally did it. You just, basically you destroyed yourselves." Okay, so these elites know that America its end is to be destroyed by nuclear missiles. Okay, and it says, "For all nations," verse 3, "have drunk of the wine," and we mentioned on this at the beginning of the video, "of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." That's why everyone wants to flock to America for the so-called American dream. Well, I really call it the American nightmare. Okay, and America is the great the whore that rides on the beast. All right, that speaks of in Revelation also, man. Okay, and all the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies, being America, the great whore. Okay, it says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached up to heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities." Now, we make clear examples, which was set up as an example, being Sodom and Gomorrah, and that was destroyed as an example unto those that after should live ungodly. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah was getting down with acts of homosexuality, acts of sodomy, so on and so forth. So how much more do you think America, man? America is that great city that's basically excelled all the wickedness of all these kingdoms combined. So what do you think the Most High is going to do to America, man? Okay, did not the Lord once flood the earth? This time the Lord's going to destroy the earth, but he's going to do it with way of thermonuclear destruction, man. All right, and rightly so. But mainly it's going to be America that's going to be hit with the missiles, but you're going to have other parts of the earth that are going to get hit with missiles also. Like over here in London, for example, we believe that definitely a missile's going to hit in over here in London as well, man. And that's why we need Yahweh Shai to come with them, what they call so-called UFOs, which are really the chariots of the Heavenly Father, to receive salvation when all of this thing when this thing's going down. Because when you go back up to verse 4, it says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues." That is going to be when Yahweh Shai comes back and says, "Come out of her, my people." Okay, Yahweh Shai is going to be the one ahead of his army, man. The Lord's host, which are them chariots and them angels, coming with them laser beams to lay this place waste. All right, and he's going to simultaneously beam up the elect, but simultaneously destroy this place at the same time. And that's going to be a beautiful thing. And that's what we're looking towards, man. All right, so when you see articles like this, you just know that World War III is around the corner and America's destruction draweth nigh. Okay, because all these other kingdoms were destroyed. Like you take the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, and now the Roman Empire Part 2, which is America, Babylon the Great, is about to be destroyed as well, man. So we got great things to look forward to. So Lord willing, you Arkin were edified. I didn't want to make this too long. I just want to make it short and to the point without going too deep. And basically just letting you know that America is destined to be destroyed. This is an article that clearly outlines that. And we read the prophecies in the Bible, and we also read that Babylon the Great was going to be destroyed and be left a desolate wilderness. So with that, I hope you Arkin were edified. And as we also know that ancient Babylon, you can take a plane over there today, which is modern day Iraq. Okay, so at the end of the day, that's still standing. That is not a desert dwelling area. Okay, this is a prophecy that's meant to come to pass, and it has not come to pass yet. So just keep that in mind, and you Arkin, stay strong out there, man. Teach this word. With that, I'm going to say shalom.